feel like this whole video is gonna be me complaining, and I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm complaining. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Siba, and on today's video, it's not a vlog, but there's an element of seriousness. Sorry, but I have been now in this country for about a year, and I'm going to be sharing some retrospective thoughts of what I wish I knew then that I know now, because I am very aware that my video and my channel is being used as like a reference point by a lot of people, and I'm very appreciative and I'm very grateful, and everything that I said in those videos remains true. But this also is going to be true. It's just like what I said then, I was living like as a tourist, and I've been here a year, working here a year, and I feel like it's important to be honest with regards to how life is and how things change from when you're coming in just 2 weeks in, like having the tourist vibe, you know what I mean? So before we get started into this video, if you're new, welcome. Please stay, I promise it's good. If you're an oldie but a goodie, welcome back. How you doing? Please subscribe. But if you're simply here because you're trying to move on to move over to the UK, I think this video is very important for you to like have a look at. But with also having said that, I'm putting out a very big disclaimer, right? All these things that I'm about to say are my experiences, right? My experiences, things that I have seen, things that have happened to me, and also with that I have tried to get like a couple of other people's like opinions to see like how do they feel, what do they wish I had put on my video, because like a bunch of people that I've met here have watched my videos, so I've like contacted them as well, but I wouldn't have put that information in this video if I didn't think it was true or if I didn't relate to it. Yeah, okay, now serious legality stuff out the way. Where do I even begin? So okay, so hold on, I've got, because I'm a prepared girl. Okay, so one of the main things that have come out is do your research, and I know that you watching this video counts as research, but what we mean by research, what I mean by research is that when you are applying for your job, whether it's through an agency, whether it's directly through it's like the NHS and stuff like that, do your research of the trust that you are potentially going to be working for, right? Do the research of like LinkedIn should probably be your best friend, like reaching out to people that are in the same trust as you, that have probably been in the same process as you, and asking them what to expect, what the trust is like, what the people in the trust are like. And I think that it'll be very insightful for you to know what people are like in that trust. I don't know if that's sounding redundant or if that's making sense, right? So you'll be able to get insight into the day-to-day workings of the trust. You'll be able to get insight of the expectations of working in the trust and things like that. Because like if you're talking to someone that's like a manager or something like that, I feel like they'll be trying to put the best foot forward for the trust, whereas if you're speaking to a regular schmeck person, they are more inclined to be more earnest or honest with you, because it's not like they're trying to get you over to this side. It's not like there's any incentive for them to get you to this side. Yeah, so it's research, like to know even the area that you're going to. So besides the trust that you're going to be working in, or like not just like trust if you're like not doing NHS, but like the area that you're going to be working in, but like also the area that you're going to be living in, because I knew jack zero shit about Romford, but I am staying here now because it's close to where I'm working, and it's like it's convenient. But it's not a choice, it's not a place I would have chosen for myself to stay in. That makes sense? That makes sense. Cool. Number 2 that we have on the list is money. Money. Anyway, let me stop being distracted. Money. Okay, so I know, well, what happened to me is that when I got the offer, I was like looking at the money and how much my potential salary is going to be, and I was converting it to South African rand. Now, truth be told, and let's be honest, the South African rand is very, very weak compared to the Great British Pound. And me seeing that amount in South African rands made me think I'm going to be living the most lavish life you've ever seen in the game. I'm going to be the baddest in the game, the baddest in the building. Where? Ha! The cost of living in this country is so high that I may as well be living in South Africa with the same salary that I was getting in my previous job. And that is saying a lot, right? So like come with the mentality that yes, you're earning in pounds, and yes, the Great British Pound is the strongest currency in the world, but then come also with the knowledge that the cost of living is also going to be having you spend in Great British Pounds. Yeah, like I don't like it's a mind twist, it's a mind flux capacitor, because when you come over, you're spending in South African rands because you haven't gotten paid yet, and you like realize like as the money's going down, you're like, yo, I just spent 500 rand on something so small. And then you come over and then now you've earned your first like salary, and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, it disappears so quickly. It disappears so quickly to such an extent that I compartmentalize my budgeting and my spending. So like when I do my groceries, I only do it in cash. When I'm going shopping, I only do it in cash. And the mentality I'm having is that if I don't have the cash for it, I'm not buying it. As like the physical cash, I'm not buying it. Because like swipe, you don't have money for groceries at the end of the month. It's really the money. The money. Just think about it. Yeah? Thank you. Next up on the list, we have the weather. I feel like this whole video is gonna be me complaining, and I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm complaining. I'm just being as honest and realistic as I can be. I didn't expect the weather to affect me as much as it has, and as much as it did, especially in the winter months. I honestly am still surprised, and I'm very, very anxious for this coming winter because it's so bloody cold. Like, besides the coldness, like never mind the coldness, it's dark all the time. Like, and like it's okay, I'm gonna get emotional because like I wake up for work and I leave for work at like 8 o'clock, 7:30, and it's dark. And then I'm in the hospital working the whole day. You hardly ever get to go outside, but then if you go outside, it's cold, it's cloudy, there is no sun. And then you leave work at 4:30 and it's dark. The sun has set at 4 o'clock. You don't get to see the sun. You don't get to see. It's like like my friend Holly said to me, is like, yeah, that's why all people in this country are so miserable, Sabo, is that we don't have sun. It's always so gloomy. And now I understand like why, even if it's 18 degrees and the little bit of sun that does come out, people are outside sitting on their balconies wearing a bikini because they need to tan. I turned gray, I turned ashy, I became pale, and my pallor looks sick. Like I look like I'm ill. I turned very gray. So take this to say, do not underestimate the effect that the weather can have on your emotions and on your experience. I definitely went through a very, very deep seasonal depression. Remember Vlogmas, I stopped it halfway because seasonal depression was having me by the chokehold. Be very aware, be very, very aware, okay. And on the fourth one we have the people. I don't know how this must sound. the people of the United Kingdom / London. The people are not friendly. The people here are not your friends. The people at work, people at work will make sure that you know that your colleagues are not your friends. Your colleagues are not your friends. Okay, let me split it up and say local people and then your colleague people. So like local people, they're very much in their own world. Like everywhere you go, hold on. Everywhere you go, headphones, can't talk to no one. Like if you are struggling, people will let you struggle. Like I remember this one time This one time I saw this lady, she was just coming out of the train station and she had a TV, like a TV box, her handbag and like a grocery bag, and she was carrying very difficult. And then I'm like, can I help you? And then she said no, but she's actively struggling. But also on that part, if you're struggling, they won't step up to help you unless you're like, can I get help? And even when you do ask for help, they're like, I don't like. People say, yeah, that's very London. And apparently up north, people are friendlier. I haven't been up north, so I can't speak for people up north. But I do know down here, you, chweps. Anyway, now we're talking about people like in the colleague section. So like my friends and I, my South African friends and I say that your colleagues are not your friends, and they're not people that you can discuss your personal business with. And by that we mean that as soon as you, like, if you're venting like, I'm struggling with this, like I didn't enjoy this, that and the other, the next day you're hearing it from someone else, and that someone else is your manager being like, I heard you have a tough time. Because you didn't hear it from me. So in conclusion, your colleagues are not your friends, and you have to choose very, very carefully, and you have to know very, very well who you can trust, because it's not everyone that you can trust. I had a rumor be started about me that, no, let me rephrase that. Let me say it how it. I had someone tell my supervisor that I had started a rumor, because, and then I was so perplexed because I was like, Njani, and at that time I was so nervous because I'm like, I'm doing my probation, this is gonna look bad on my probation, this, that, and the other. And luckily my supervisor, like, she came to me and asked me, like, what is this? I'm like, oh, I didn't, like, okay. And then I told her, like, what the situation was, and she's like, okay, I knew you'd never do that. I just wanted to, like, clarify because this is what was said to me. And I was like, oh, bed, Jwanong, troops, keep your mouth still. If you don't want your ndabas to go away from you, troops still, okay? Okay. So number 5 is the transport, yeah? Okay, so the public transport of this country is so pristine. And coming from a country where public transport is the taxi and bus, via and metro bus, where it's hardly ever dependable, it's very good to know that you can rely on public transport. Flip that and say that I really still do miss my car. I definitely miss my car, because I am tired of walking everywhere I go. Every day without fail I clear 7,000 steps, and that's just me going to work. I clear 7,000 steps because I'm walking to the bus stop, from the bus stop to work, walking in work, coming back from work to the bus stop to here. Clear, easy. I'm not even doing next exertion, but easy, cleared, right? But also with that, it's that it takes nearly an hour to get to anywhere you want to get to. Not anywhere you want to get to, but like if you're trying to go like to central London and stuff like that, it's gonna take about 40 minutes, and then there's like delays that happen. But then when the delay happens, there is an alternative route, right? So it's a good transport system, but there's also some things that you have created for yourself of like convenience, like having a car, that you just simply miss. So now every time I go out, I have to have a backpack or a bag that has a jacket or an umbrella, because the rain will rain whenever it wants to rain. Reference point number 2, weather. The rain will rain whenever it wants to go. You can't just say, oh, I'll just keep a jacket in my car, or I'll keep a spare pair of shoes in my car. And because you're walking so much, you can't wear glamorous shoes because your feet will hurt. Another one of a South African girlie that came here, on her first week, she fractured her toe because she was walking around central London wearing like platform sneakers, and then she fractured her toe. So you will walk. Point to be made that you will walk, right? Even though you have transport, you better believe it, you're gonna be walking everywhere, yeah? Sharp. Okay, so let's move on to point number 6. So point number 6 is one that I actually got from my partner. I called him and I was like, hey baby, I'm doing this video, and what do you think is one important thing that I should mention for people to like be aware of, etc. And he said a support structure. Like the importance of having a support structure is really, really one that seems to be forgotten. And I was like, damn, because then I'm like, if you come over here and you've got like a family member, or you have your partner coming with you and things like that, the ability to adjust, it's not easy, but there's a lot more inclination into it. You're not resisting. Well, I'm going to speak like once again from like my experience. Like there's not much resistance to the changes that you have to get into. There's not much resistance into the relationship that you have to build and to form and stuff like that. And I think with something like a support structure, it's so easy to forget or like negate the importance people that know you, the importance that people know you have on you as a person. Because like, for example, with my partner, well, he knows where to meet me and what I need at a certain moment in time, because like I'm someone that has like waves and waves of emotion. So I get really like high like emotion stuff like that, and when I get low I get really low. Like, but when I'm middle, I'm like nice and middle, but like my emotions are very like impacted by things that like are happening around and stuff like that. So like he'll be able to very easily read, be like, what's wrong, or like you look in a good mood and stuff like that. And like for someone to just know that and know how to meet you where you need to be met is something that I think I didn't think it's something that is very easy to underestimate its importance, especially when you're going through such a big life change. Yeah. So, and even though I do like have friends, I can't compare the friendship of a year or the friendship of the people that I've made here to the friendship of someone that has seen me go through something similar before and knows how I react to certain things and knows how to challenge or to regulation is the most important thing, guys. Sensory stimulation says so. Like the regulation that you need, or the someone that pushes you to be honest with yourself. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like having a support structure is very important, and I just think I fully underestimated how much it would affect me, because I'm like, when I came I was like, yeah, no, I wasn't Stellenbosch, this and the other, but now that I'm so far and I'm at such a different stage in my life, it's a lot more evident and a lot more imperative that a support structure is constant and consistent. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, okay, that was a very deep one. But my support structure right now, because like I said, my boyfriend is the best boyfriend ever. He's made me Sibyl's daily jar, which I take a note out of every day, especially in the evening, because if my emotions have been wrecked from like the day, I take a note from here, and it just feels better, like our additional connection on top of our video calls, which load shedding is not making very easy. Yes, load shedding is the worst thing to ever happen to a long distance relationship. But anyway, so that was point number 6. Point number 7 is routine. So like getting into a new routine is like it's all according to an adjustment. It all has to do with adjustment. I am really struggling to adjust. Like now that I've sat down with myself and I've become honest with myself, I'm really struggling to adjust, and I'm not adjusting as well as I thought I would, right? So back home, I'd have a routine for what I do like on the weekend. Like daily routine is a daily routine. You go to work, you come back. But like it's the coming back, what you do when you come back, and when you try to put a routine on that, it's like growing pains. I didn't get growing pains, but if you did growing pains, let me know. It's like uncomfortable, man. It's like because at first you're doing like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go to the gym and I get back from work and then I'm gonna do meal prep and this, but then it's those little things that, like, for me, that wave your day up and down, and you can't have the concrete routine that you had like back home, especially like over the weekend. So like now I go out like all the time over the weekend, but I don't have like a consistent like structure. So like at home, I know that one weekend was me and Gina doing groceries, one weekend was my date weekend that I had with my partner, one weekend was me hanging out with Abokang and Tebo, and one weekend was like split across like all my friends that were like all over. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I felt comfort in that routine, whereas Manje, you're like I have a routine, but it's not routined. It's like, oh yeah, I still have to do that, because I'm not adjusting. Like the adjustment assimilation is tough. It's tough, and I think I lied to myself for a really long time saying, yeah, no, I'm good, and I'm adjusting. But like, I'm not adjusting. For the fact that I've been here a year, I'm not adjusting as well as I would have liked, and that's like a rude awakening call for myself. Yeah. Anyway, oh, ice cream, man. And item number 9, which is the last item before I'm going to read some questions that you guys gave, is travel. So a friend of mine, Ruth, she's the one that brought up this point, and it's something that I strongly agree with, is that she came over here thinking that she'd have access to traveling to Europe, which we all do, but the Schengen visa drama in this country, ew, it will show you your mother's life, I tell you now. Because number one, it's physically near impossible to get an appointment for a Schengen visa. I don't know, I think it'd be easier to get a Schengen visa in South Africa than it would be to get a Schengen visa this side, because everyone is trying to get a Schengen visa and appointments are like finished. And appointments, okay, so how it is, I don't know if any of y'all have tried to apply for a Schengen visa. I haven't tried, but then this is what people are saying, right? Is that appointments only come out on like the 15th of every month, and like, but at midnight. So how at midnight, you have to be ready waiting to like book. But then what happens is agencies like that that help you with like your Schengen, I don't know if they pre-book or like they have masses of people taking those appointments, so that they try and get people to come book through them so they can pay and get you a Schengen visa. But that's also not always a guarantee. It's like such, hey man, ho ngata. So she said like she wanted to travel around Europe. She's been here 6 months and she hasn't gotten that opportunity because getting a Schengen visa, getting an appointment to get a Schengen visa is near impossible. Europe is not like, I don't have the greatest desire to travel across Europe. I'm more like an Asian girly, but I can only imagine what that like that frustration is like. I'm not saying that I don't want to do Europe, but it's not a priority like for me, do you know what I mean? But yeah, so like those are the main things that I feel like you need to consider, to think about. It's like, it's not like it's bad, I'm not complaining, it's just like to be aware of it, because I feel like the best armor against anything is knowledge and information and stuff like that. But okay, so down to those points that I want to communicate to y'all. I put up on my Instagram like last week like burning questions that y'all wanted to ask me. I have on my phone, I'm gonna go through them. There's a lot of ones that were deep and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to answer that well, or let's get into it. So anyway, the first question that I was asked is, do you enjoy the OT setting in the UK? The OT setting in the UK, like I said in one of my videos, is very different. And I don't know if it's just like trust in like northeast London or like east of London, where discharge planning, like it's very heavy on discharge planning to such an extent that you're hardly getting to do any treatment, right? So like it'd be like in an acute hospital, you going in, seeing the patient, doing a functional, seeing what they need to go home, putting those things for them to go home, making sure they get discharged and it's a safe discharge, and then boom, right? That's like, it's a very broken down like example of what happens, but that's basically what happens. Whereas I think I can't guarantee this, but then because I've never been in the community, where in the community I think there's a lot more therapy base that's there, do you know what I mean, in the community and like in the rehab like centers. But like I'm currently working in like a rehab unit and I'm not doing as much rehab treatment as I thought I would be, because I'm still very heavy on the discharge planning. Second question that we have is that, how do you travel through Europe? Another thing, traveling through to Europe is very difficult unless you've got a British passport, which one of the girlies that work in the same trust that I do, she's from South Africa and she currently has obtained citizenship. But to obtain citizenship you have to have your BRP and have worked here for 5 years before you can apply for a passport. And she said that she didn't want to go put herself through your ice cream man, that she didn't waste her time trying to get a Schengen visa because she knew that it's like too much stress to go through. So she, in that time, traveled everywhere else she could, that needed a visa, yeah, but wasn't as difficult to get a Schengen visa. And now that she's got her British passport, she can go into Europe easily. So you can, but it's very difficult. It's a very, very big difficult, yeah? Okay, next question. Are you able to save money? Like I said, with regards to being able to save money, when I thought about it in months, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to save so much money. But then because the cost of living is so high, you are able to save, but the amount that you are able to save is not nearly as much that you would like to save. So like the amount that I have saved, maybe because I'm just reckless with money and I've just come back from Turkey, but the amount, like, I feel like my saving habits were a lot better in South Africa and more consistent in South Africa than they have been since I'm here. But if you're good with money and you're strict with your money and stuff like that, I think it will be better, because I think it also depends on like the level of like your banding that you're at, because I'm still at band 5 and my salary is like entry level. If you are like a band 6 or 7 or whatever, there's a higher saving potential for that. Okay, question number, I don't know what. Would it be easy to come back to South Africa afterwards? I think yes, because it is your home country. But to come back to South Africa to work as an OT, it probably would. I heard someone told me that if you've been here working for the NHS and you go back to South Africa, you're like platinum dust, not even gold dust anymore. You're like platinum dust because they want you. So I think it would be, but don't quote me on that. But if you do want to go back, remember to keep up with your HPCSA payments and your CPD compliance in South Africa, which I am not. So that's a very I don't know how I feel about that fact, nah, but it's the fact that exists. It's the fact that exists, you know. So these questions, people ask me them the most, so they're asked differently, but it's basically just the same question. So the first way someone asked it is like, would you recommend it to others? The second one was it worth the move? And the third way someone asked it was, would you do it again knowing what you know now, right? So I feel like everything I'm going to say is basically going to be answering each and every one of these questions, right? Would you recommend it to others? I would recommend it. No, let me say I would recommend it. What I would say is that before you make the move, ask yourself why you're making the move. Are you making the move because everyone else is doing it? If that's your answer, don't do it. Go back to the drawing board and find out why. Because then you're gonna resent and regret and stuff like that. The reason I was doing it is because I felt very, very stagnant in all the roles that I was doing back home. So like I'd worked in 4 different like areas, and I'd only been able to keep a job for like a year at a time, and in those years I wasn't like growing or feeling challenged or anything like that. And I was like, I need to go to a place where I feel like I can do more, I'm challenged, I can do this, that and the other, right? And that's why I made the move, right? And I think it's been beneficial for me in the development of my career, for one, and for two, to be able to know and see that career development does not necessarily have to be linear. It is in whichever way like it can happen, you know. So looking at many different trajectories that people that are OTs have taken, and yeah, so would I recommend it to others? Only if you know your why, like what is your why that you're doing it, yeah. And then was it worth the move? It was very expensive for the move. I think I'm gonna conflate that answer with answering would I do it again knowing what I know now? If I knew that I was going to be struggling so much to adjust, struggling so much to acclimatize, and like things like that, and like knowing that my partner wasn't going to be here like as soon as we anticipated him to be, then I don't think I would have done it as quickly as I did. I think it would have taken like time to make sure that like our shit's in order and stuff like that. But like if it was going to be a moment where my partner comes with me at the same time, where we are each other's support structure in adjusting and acclimatizing to a new environment, then I definitely would do it. But with what I know now, I think I wish I had this information that I'm giving you so that I would make a better informed decision. But I do think it was a necessary career step for me to know what kind of professional I want to be and what kind of career I want to have. So it's not as simple as yes, it was worth it, no, it wasn't worth it. There are moments of it that are definitely worth it, and I wouldn't have known things about myself had I not done this. But there are moments of it where I'm like, oh God, it's just so difficult. Oh God, I'm not doing it, I'm not thriving. Oh God, I'm not comfortable. Everything is uncomfortable and I'm not adjusting this, that and the other. Do you know what I mean? So it's not as simple as, oh my God, definitely worth it, 10 out of 10 would recommend, do it. But it's also not as easy as, no, don't ever come here. The big thing you need to consider is, why are you coming here? Because I have my new flatmate who's left me. She left South Africa and went to go to Canada, and had been in Canada for the past 4.5 years, and now she's here for different reasons. So find your why. It's not everyone's trajectory is not linear, and your movement is not linear, and your reasoning cannot be the same as anyone else's reasoning. And as much as many of us came to the UK, the stories and our paths that we took to come here are all very different, and I think that's something that's very big for you to consider, and it's something that you find out more of when you do your research. And that's what I wish I'd done a lot more of. I wish I'd done a lot more of research and taken everything that everyone had said with earnestly. Because when everyone said to me, oh my gosh, it rains 9 months of the year, it's very miserable, it's very doom and gloomy, my answer, and I say this like very honestly, and I feel like I'm so oh my God, people, oh my God, oh my God, what is that? Anyway, when people say to me like, it's miserable, it rains like all the time, this and the other, I said, well, I'm not going for the weather, I'm going for work. And that was the most immature and indignant answer that I could have ever given to someone being honest about something with me. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that I wish I'd taken a lot more seriously. But yeah, I really hope that this video didn't come across all doom and gloom and everything. I really hope that you take something away from this, and I really hope that you take this information with the honesty. Oh, honest is my favorite word this video. With the encouragement that I'm giving it to you. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's it. Okay, guys. If you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below any other questions that you have. People that have asked these questions before know that I'm responding there in the DMs. Contact me, I'll answer. If you want a referral, not a referral, if you want to know which people that I used to come here, like, text me, I'll refer you, but don't forget to tell them that I sent you. And then yeah, like, any questions that you have, any doubts that you're having, I'm not saying that I can reassure your doubts, but we can talk about your doubts, you know. Subscribe to the channel down below. Thanks, bye.